Good morning and welcome to Nature Live Online. I'm Alison. I'm going to be your host for today. Now, if you're new to Nature Live, we're an event that usually happens at the Natural History Museum in London, where we give you a chance to meet and speak with some of the staff that work behind the scenes here at the museum, find out a bit more about them and about the brilliant work that they do as well. For the moment, our doors have to remain closed, but that work continues. So we're bringing our science and our scientists direct to you at home. Now, today, we're going to be focusing on spiders. Now, for those of you that are a little bit nervous, unsurprisingly, there are quite a few spiders in our talk today and some live specimens, but do stick with us. It will be worth it. Now, today, we're going to be guided through UK spiders by one of our brilliant volunteers, Leah. And I've got quite a few questions for Leah, but I know you will have some questions too. So please don't be shy. If you've got any questions about our topic today, pop them in the comments section. We'll do our very best to get through as many of your questions as we can. But let's meet our speaker for today, Leah. Leah, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, hi Alison, and hello everyone at home. It's lovely to see you all this morning, or at least Alison.
It's everyone else. Thank you so much for coming to chat to us today. First of all, let's start by finding out what you do at the museum.
So I have a few roles at the museum, but the two main ones that I do are I'm a learning volunteer, so that's the one where I'm in purple pointing at people. We take out specimens on gallery like real skulls or fossils or seed pods, and instead of you, say, looking at all the specimens we have and reading descriptions, we give you a chance to actually hold and explore a specimen by actually touching and looking at it properly. So I love it. I've been doing it for 6.5 years, and it just kick-started my journey into the museum. So it's my favourite thing to do. But the thing that's probably a bit more relevant to today is that I am a behind-the-scenes volunteer with the wonderful Jan Beccoloni, who is the curator of Arachnids here at the museum. And I look after some of the spider specimens.
You do a great job both behind the scenes and as a learning volunteer.
Yeah, front and back.
What sorts of projects do you get to work on behind the scenes?
So the one that I was focusing on for the time being is looking at the black widow spiders. So I finished my master's last year, which was done partly with the museum, so it was wonderful to actually work with the specimens I was studying and help sort them out. So what I was doing is just recurating them, so going through them, checking they weren't damaged, they were okay, how many spiders there were, what they're male or female or egg sacs, and just like collecting all that data so we can use it in the future to make it a lot more accessible. So here you can see some specimens that I was looking at quite literally the week before lockdown, collected by the wonderful Evelyn Cheeseman, who was a pioneering lady at the museum who collected 70,000 specimens just by herself. And those specimens you see there, they are 80 years old. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm working on. And where possible, if they haven't been identified, I have a crack at identifying them as well under microscopes. And I love it, being able to really look at these animals.
So many scenes, and I'm quite jealous of the fact that you get to kind of pick through the specimens. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, with the forceps, yeah.
Now we're going to be focusing mainly today on UK spiders, some of the brilliant species that we find here. But we should probably start with some basics first of all, because we've had a couple of questions from YouTube already. I can see. What exactly are spiders related to?
In my opinion, they're just dogs with 4 extra legs, but scientifically, they are seen as belong to a group called Arachnids. So I think we have a couple of examples of Arachnids that we can show you. And they're a wonderful group which have an exoskeleton, so they have they're tough on the outside, that's how we should say it. And they have jointed legs, which I think is quite well demonstrated with the tarantula. You can see there's multiple parts of the legs there. So what separates spiders, so arachnids in general, from, say, insects and other sort of related animals is that, first of all, the obvious one, you all know it at home, they have 8 legs. got 8 legs. It's a really good characteristic. A second one is that their body is split into 2 parts. So they have, it's not always obvious, but it is there. So it's split into the cephalothorax, so that's kind of the head, and then the abdomen, which is, the behind. And I think a really key thing as well that you will find, things that no arachnids will have, they won't have wings and they won't have antenna. Because I know crane flies, people are like, oh, sometimes they get mixed up with cellar spiders. It's like, no flying spiders. It's okay. Don't worry. They haven't figured that one out.
People that are nervous of spiders, no flying spiders is a brilliant thing.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. They're totally fine, but they're not flying. No.
Because we did have a couple of questions from YouTube about, one was about how many legs spiders have. Do they always have 8 legs?
Yes, they always have 8 legs. However, if we could just go back to that slide that had the tarantula on it with all the other animals, what you'll see at the front there is it looks almost like the tarantula's got another pair of legs at the front there. It's not. Those are a very special appendage called pedipalps, and all spiders have them. So larger ones like tarantulas will use them for walking, and we'll get into a bit more what spiders use them for. But sometimes it looks like they have 10 legs. No, don't worry, I've got the 8.
And just while we're on the topic of their body plan, we had a couple of people, Chloe and Sophie, were asking how many eyes spiders have.
Oh, great question. So here's a fun one. It can vary. So spiders can have anywhere between no eyes all the way up to 8 different eyes. And here's an even better thing about spider eyes is that they have, on different spider families, will have different arrangements of the eyes. So jumping spiders, for example, have 2 massive eyes at the front, whereas some spiders will have like 2 tiny rows of eyes at the front here. And it's actually how you can identify spiders based on their eyes. So yeah, great question. Anywhere from 0 to 8, but mostly 8.
Mostly 8. Good to know. Leah, you're so passionate about spiders. Did you always love them? How did you get into spiders?
Slippery slope with insects. No, joke. No, I got into spiders by, first of all, being arachnophobic. I was scared of spiders for a huge part of my life, up until I'd say maybe I was like 20. I was scared of spiders. But then I had a very fateful encounter when I was babysitting for a family, and I saw there was this massive spider on a beanbag the kid was sitting on. I freaked out. I did not know what it was. It looked big and black and like it'd come out of a pair of bananas. So I whipped him off, and I'm very ashamed to say I killed the spider. I got some deodorant, sprayed it, killed it because I freaked out. And once it was dead, I was like, that is so shameful. I was like, how could I do that to an animal? And also that was such an overblown reaction. So I thought, right, I want to know what this is. So I took a picture of it, took it to the Angela Marmot Centre at the Natural History Museum, which does free identifications, and particularly they are superb for UK wildlife. And they got back to me like, oh yeah, it's a tube web. Don't worry. So here is our tube web spider. Here was our mystery spider that freaked me out. They have the beautiful name Segestria florentina. They've only been in the country for about 100 years, but you can see here, maybe understand why I was quite panicked at first, but they're spectacular. So they will live in sort of bricks. They will find tiny little corners. You can see there's a video of me poking one with a bit of grass, and you'll just see, yep, whoop, she comes in, she comes out. Amazing. So spectacular. The speed of them, I was so impressed. And I'm going to show you, I actually managed to catch one last night. So, as advertised, I do have some live specimens.
Brilliant.
I want to just stress, I caught these last night. They're going straight out back to where I found them after the talk is over, and they are, safe and comfortable. Don't worry. So here is, I've got to get here she is. That is a tube-web spider. You can also see, so this one's a juvenile one. She's not too big. They do get bigger. But if I can, I'm sorry, it's because my camera's reversed. I'm trying to figure out. Can we maybe see? No, not today. And if we go back to the picture of the slide, sorry, Ben, they'll see, you can see at the picture there, it looks like 2 really shiny points. And those are the clitoris, those are her mouth parts. They are bright iridescent green, which is just spectacular. So I saw this when I need to know more. And that's it. Here we are, 2 degrees later, both on spiders, one volunteering gig and a Nature Live. I'm so glad
It's
I learned
brilliant.
about that.
I'm so glad you told that story, because I have to confess I'm not brilliant with spiders either. Lots of people are really scared of them. For me, it's the way they move mainly. But what is it about spiders that gets people, do you think?
It's a number of things. I've actually just written them down here. It's 4 big things. It's 1, people like they're big. 2, people like they're scary. They look really ugly. I don't like them. Fast, as you said, is how they move. And finally, it's that fear of being bitten. So I just want to say today that I hope this talk acts as a springboard for all of you to go, actually, they're cool. They're really interesting. They're very shy. They don't want to bite us. And some of them are really cute as well, or just beautiful colorations too. And in fact, what I've got on the screen, so we've got a false willow here who I absolutely love them. And then on the other hand, we've got a lovely jumping spider that was a pet. You can't find that one in the UK, it's an American species, but just to show they do get really cute. I'm sure some of you might have seen Lucas the spider, very, very sweet, some of them.
Absolutely.
Change attitudes.
We've had a great question actually from Jacob at age 7, who wants to know how many species of spider there are in the world and
Oh,
okay.
it's like you know what's coming up, isn't it? What a great question. What I could tell you flat out off the bat, there are 48,000 species of spider approximately worldwide. Folks at home, how many do you think we have in the UK? Have a think. Whack it in the chat box. Chat amongst yourselves. How many do you think we have in the UK? Loving
100?
100, yeah. It's not, no, totally reasonable guess. We had 7 from one of our we had 7 earlier from us.
That was from one of our moderators. Surely more than that.
It is more than 7. All right, shall we say? So there are currently 670 species of spider in the UK, and that number will change as we identify more, or more country. But that is 1.4% of all species worldwide. So not much really. We have a fraction.
That's more than I thought, though.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people saying that's 670 too many, but don't. Marvellous. Not enough, in my opinion. Slightly biased opinion.
And whereabouts will we find them? What sorts of environments?
So in the UK, the honest answer is anywhere. Spiders they're not fun. You get species that will adapt to really niche habitats. But interestingly enough, you can find spiders in your garden, in your shed, in your house, your flat, in the hallway outside your apartment. You can find them in all sorts of places around town, like on walls and in buildings, railings, you name it. Probably got a spider who is happy to to live on that thing. So I've got some pictures. So these are ones that I've taken of spiders I found in my garden, and the false widow I found on a brick pillar outside someone's house as well. But sometimes spiders like unusual places as well. But some spiders fall into a really cool category called synanthropic, which means a animal that associates with humans and sometimes benefits from that relationship. So we have lampposts. Spider can build a web up there, guaranteed food coming every night because they're attracted to the light, for example. So here we have a bridge spider that I found on a bridge, would you believe? Larynonides, they are so cool, those spiders. I've got a lot of time for them. And of course, the false willow steatode nobilis is a male spider hanging out. You can see in the glass where you tap your cards in. Which brings me on to the worst thing I'm going to say in this entire program. He is using his Oi Spider card because 2020 is not bad enough. Let's up the ante with some bad jokes. Let's go for it.
Thank you for that, Leah.
If they can get into it, if they think it's a good place for them to put a web, they will. That's the amazing part about spiders.
Absolutely. Now, I know you've been collecting some examples for us. So can you talk us through some of the spiders that we might find here in the UK?
Absolutely. So, all the spiders I'm showing, I found these in my garden. I found them within about half an hour, and I didn't really put much effort into. I wasn't flipping over logs or poking around underneath sheds and all that. So these are what I caught. This isn't what I saw. I saw way more than that. But yeah, let's start, shall we, with our Cellar Spider. So I need my patented spider paper. I'm going to bring this guy up here. So, my camera's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, look at the legs. Now, that is a cellar spider, but I'm sure those of you at home, and Alison, you have a different name for this guy, don't you?
Yeah, I call these daddy long legs.
Yeah, daddy long legs, and you can definitely see why they've got huge legs. Of course they have. Daddy long legs is a bit of a pain in the neck of a name for people into spiders, because that is something, a name that people use to describe crane flies and harvestmen. So it's, yeah, so there's a harvestman I found outside my grandma's house. They have 8 legs, they are arachnids, but they're not spiders. And I got very passionate. I said they're not cellar spiders. So that's why we call them cellar spiders, not daddy long legs. So another really cool thing is, I'm sure some of you have heard that myth about daddy long legs, cellar spiders, beg your pardon, are very venomous. They're the most toxic in the world, but because they can't bite us, therefore, that's why we're safe from them. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. Cellar spiders have a venom that would not affect us. They've evolved to have venom that is for insects predominantly. But the reason why people think they're very deadly is because in America you can see them actually taking down and eating black widow spiders. And here in the UK, they can capture and eat giant house spiders, which are a lot bigger and sturdier than these guys. And so people think, oh, they must be really, no, none of that. They're absolutely fine. Finally, here's a really cool thing with cellar spiders, and you can find these in sheds, in dingy areas in your house, in the attic. Here I am poking it. Look at it go. Look at it go, spin around. So this is a defense mechanism that cellar spiders do. You don't really see this in other spiders. They'll swing themselves around on their web because they're trying to do the thing, like the penguin in Madagascar. You didn't see anything. That's what they're trying to do.
You can't see me. You can't see me. You can't see me.
You can't see me. Whoa, where am I now? So that's other spiders. They get a bad rep, but you can find them pretty easily in your house, in your shed, anywhere it must be. Probably find a lot of them when we go back to the museum. I'm just thinking now.
Yeah, but I'm happy to keep them now that I know that they eat the big.
Yeah, they do.
House
Shall we have a look?
Let's have a look. Oh, these ones make me nervous.
A giant house spider, one of our biggest spiders we can find in the UK. There you go. Now, I'm sure eagle-eyed viewers will notice there are 7 legs on the spider. I realised that as soon as I caught him. So they do lose legs, but funny enough, they can grow them back. If they haven't if they haven't hit maturity and they haven't hit their final shed yet, they can actually grow a leg back, which is really, really cool. So this guy, you see them in the autumn, everyone panics, everyone sees them, and I get it, it is a bit like, whoa, hold the phone, how'd you get in here? Well, they live there. They live in your house, they live in your garden, they live in your shed, they live all around us. But what happens is the autumn is the males come out of their webs because they're looking for the females. They want to mate, they want to hang out with her. Genuinely, they stay for like a few weeks with the females, and that's why all of a sudden we see these spiders. Now, how do you know they're all male spiders?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this right. So, can you see 2 dangly things at the front of him? Oh, hang on, there we go. Yeah, these diamondy bits here.
Yeah.
So those are pedipalps. In male spiders, pedipalps have been modified to have what looks like a pair of boxing gloves on them. And I think if we can show the slide with them, yeah. So there you are. There's the female. She's got completely straight pedipalps, but our male one, here's the dangly pedipalps with almost boxing gloves on them. So yeah. So when autumn comes, when these guys come back in full force, I want all of you to do one thing. Put them under the cup, take a close look and see if you can see the boxing glove pedipalps at the front. So there's extra little appendages there. And that's a great characteristic that you can use to identify spiders with, because they're individual to each species. It's amazing.
That's a great tip. So for the males and females of the giant house spiders, they're roughly the same size, because I know in some species males are smaller than the females.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things where females are typically bigger, and definitely, actually, let me think, they are roughly the same size. Yeah, I mean, put it this way, if you see one in your house, I imagine most of you are probably going to think it's big, full stop. Doesn't matter if it's going to be.
We've had a couple of great questions actually from our viewers. while we're on the subject of large spiders, Sophie, age 11, was asking, do they shed their skin when they grow? How do spiders grow?
Oh, yes, I realised I mentioned it, and it was like, actually, I should probably mention it. So when we grow, our bodies grow with us. We don't really, you see changes, but you don't see anything as dramatic as, spiders have. So one of the problems about having your skeleton on the outside is that you need to get rid of your old skin every time you grow a bit bigger. So what you'll see sometimes if you look in webs is sort of brown crumpled legs. It looks like there's another spider that's been eaten. No, that's their shed skin. So that's how spiders grow. They'll shed their skin, and they'll grow even bigger and even bigger as they outgrow their new skin. Apologies, I feel like I fumbled that one a bit, didn't I? I'm so sorry. I'm so focused on the other parts, I forgot the basic bit. But yeah, that's how they do it. They shed their skin in one go.
And William, age 12, on YouTube was asking whether all spiders have fangs or teeth. Are there any that don't have fangs?
Just forget. Yep, all spiders will have fangs. All spiders, except for one species, are carnivores, so they will eat other animals. So yeah, they need those fangs to help get them. So what you see, the mouth parts at the front. So I'll show you maybe in the next slide. They have the mouth parts at the front. The fangs are tucked up underneath the mouth parts. So what you're seeing isn't the fangs; they're underneath.
Great questions as well from our audience. We'll take a few.
These are great.
I know you've got a couple of other spiders you want to show us. We've got the garden spider, do we?
Yeah, we've got a garden spider. So, in fact, this one's quite lively. There you go. I think you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. This one's moving around. Patented spider paper coming in. So this is a garden spider. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful spiders. They've got lots of lovely colours, and they weave the classic web. I say to everyone at home now, draw a web. You're going to draw something that looks a bit like, here we go. Draw something that looks like that. So this has actually got a garden spider in the middle. It's the classic sort of shape with all the lines in them. That's the web these guys build. Question for everyone at home: how many different kinds of silk do you think a spider can produce when they're making their webs? How many different types of silk will they need?
Oh.
Yeah. It's
What about that?
Cool. Not one size.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
2 or 3? I am completely guessing.
No, I respect that. It's one of those things that you don't consider until you go, oh, actually, hang on a second. So I've also saw a great question someone asked earlier. I'm sorry I didn't see the name, where they said, do all spiders have the same web? They don't.
Yeah.
There are so many different kinds of webs out there. I think you saw the tube web has a radial web, and these guys, the garden spiders, will weave the classic orb web. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of answers being posted.
Very varied.
Yeah, there's very varied ones.
103. 10.
I love it. I love it. This is wonderful optimism. So spiders can use up to seven different kinds of silk, and they will have a different silk gland within their body that produces that particular silk. 7. Yeah, honestly, my favorite fact. I cannot get over that stuff. So they have a different kind of. Let's whip through this really quickly, shall we? So they have a this is piriform. Then they'll have a silk they'll use for the frame. That's major ampullate. Then they'll have this thing called minor ampullate, and that is this little swirl that you can see they make there. That's kind of like the blueprint of where they want the sticky part of their web. Then you get, oh, here we go, flagelliform. That's filling it in. That's filling it in with the different web. Finally, the interesting one, aggregate, sticky silk. So where they planted that, ooh, here we go, where they planted this earlier, they'll go over it with this stuff, the sticky bit. Then finally, you've got a fly, it's in your web. You then use aciniform silk to trap it, and you can also use it to wrap up your egg sac. Finally, cylindriform, which you use to just coat your egg sac in the breathable but protective silk. I apologise, I realised that was really quick. I'm just aware we're cutting it. That's fine. But that's the example of 7 different silks. use it for more than that, but those are the classic what those 7 silks are for. They've got different uses, you know.
So we're familiar with spiders' webs, but they wrap their eggs in silk. They use it for all sorts of different purposes, don't they?
They do. Absolutely.
Very good question. Very good question.
Very cool. That's why they've got so much interest from engineers, because that's impressive stuff.
We've had a couple of great questions from our viewers around what spiders actually eat. We had a question about our giant house spiders, what they eat, and a great question from Helen asking how much do spiders eat. She's always worried about the bathroom spider, that they're going to starve to death.
Helen, you and I are, you know, kindred spirits. I feel you on this one. This is a great question. I need to be honest, I don't know specific, but when spiders eat, they're like snakes in that they can have one meal and they can survive for, you know, a couple of weeks almost in some species without having another meal. So don't worry if you've seen one, that could last them quite a while. And then what do giant house spiders eat? They eat anything unfortunate enough to go into their webs. They're not fussy, but typically it's invertebrate stuff. So other insects, creepy crawlies, and also something I think people don't, something I need to just stress is that spiders are kind of cannibals. They'll eat other spiders, no questions asked. If it wanders into the web, delicious. There's, you know, that's why I said the Cellar Spider earlier. Take down the giant house spider. Brilliant dinner for the next month. Yeah. I think if you want to look at particulars, there's some really cool papers out there, but maybe save that for the end, though, because I think there's some relevant questions to like venomous animals. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. We do have a great question from Lucinda, age 10, asking, do female spiders eat the males when it comes to mating?
Good question. Good question. What happens when spiders are mating is that the male basically puts himself in the position where he is, you know, in front of the female's mouth. And if she's hungry, and you know, this is what black widows are famous for, although they don't do it as much as people say, they do it not as much. If she's really hungry, she'll have a good old nip of that male and eat him. It's not guaranteed every time. It's not as common as you think, but yes, it does happen. I will need to be honest, in terms of UK species, you'd need to probably look at like particular species to figure out which ones. But yeah, hey, it happens, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, hazardous business if you're a male spider particularly.
Yeah, very hazardous. But for him, it guarantees that, you know, he's mated with a female, that's going to be his offspring. So for him, it's a win-win. Well, a win-lose. Big win-lose. Poor thing.
Now, Leah, I know there's one spider in particular that you are really, really keen to talk about. And that's our false widow spider. You've got one to show us, haven't you?
I do have one to show you. This is one that I found in my garden last night. So let me see if I can get her up there. She's been, you'll see, look at her. She's crouching in the corner. She's not dead. But what she's doing right now is she's playing dead. So false widows are very notorious. Well, they're notorious for everything to come on to. But the first response for a false widow, if they feel threatened, is to immediately play dead. So all of you at home, no matter your age, where you are, no matter how you think of spiders, I imagine right now you all have an idea of what false widows are. You've read stories, you've heard things. And there's a huge variation of opinions. And I've seen a couple of questions in chat asking, like, what's our most venomous spider? So let's talk about venom. All spiders, except for one family, the Ulyboridae, which we have 3 species of in the UK, all spiders have venom, and they use venom to capture their prey. That venom has evolved in tandem with other invertebrates, insects, and their venom is specific for them. It just won't affect us. The amount of spiders that have venom that do impact us, less than 1%, and that's worldwide. Less than 1% affect us, but unfortunately, there are some spiders that can have, you know, really strong, potent venom. You know, like the Brazilian wandering, like black widows, like brown recluses, that can have really tragic results. Where does the false widow sit? So my supervisor for my thesis was Dr. Michel Dugon. He is based at the National University of Ireland in Galway, and he runs the Venom Lab, which is the only place worldwide that is studying this species particularly, and their impact in particular in the UK and Ireland. So here's the honest truth. If this bites you, yes, it will hurt. The pain is equivalent to people say being stung by a wasp or a bee. However, your chances of having a strong reaction are debatable. You might have a reaction, you might not. And the problem is with spiders is when they bite, they don't always inject venom. It takes a long time to generate, and you want to keep that for prey capture. So when they bite, it's out of defense, and they don't really want to waste their venom on us. So, and what happens in these cases that you read with these, and I need to stress, I really feel for all these people who have had really horrible infections as a result of bite, or really painful swelling symptoms. We don't know if that's the venom. That could just be a really bad reaction. And definitely in the cases of people getting horrible infections, that's because the bite with bacteria, particularly I think it's Streptococcus A, that strain of bacteria, they get into the wound and they infect it. What are your chances of being bitten? Pretty low. They bite only in defense. They're incredibly shy spiders, and you'll see the recurring theme in all these stories. They were trapped in clothing, or someone put their finger and they didn't realize it was a web and the spider went, dinner. You didn't realize, but your chances of being bitten are, pretty slim. So yes, it could hurt. But the biggest risk is infection, and that's not the spider. That's a case of keeping it clean and keeping an eye on it, which can be really difficult. So yeah, I apologize. I just feel very passionately that they get such a bad rep. It is not deserved. They are totally fine, but it can hurt, but your chances are very low. So give them a bit of respect. If you find them in your house, don't panic. Put them in a jar, shut them outside. They will be totally fine and they will not bother you. And also it's good pest control. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Get rid of that horrible, I want to protect humans, I want to protect spiders. It's the main goal. Everyone wins.
Absolutely. We had you've sort of answered one of our questions. Peter aged 8 asked, do we have any venomous spiders in the UK? So is the false widow our only spider that we slightly have to?
No, it's not the only one. I mean, if something like a giant house spider or a tube web or things like a wood louse spider, for example, they're bigger spiders. They have, bigger fangs and bigger mouths. If they bite you, yeah, it's going to hurt. But the same way, it's the mechanical action. The venom, no. That's why the false widow attracts a lot of attention, because it's the first time really in the UK there's a spider that could produce some sort of swelling and some pain reactions, but nothing extreme. It's often infection that's the result. Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, we've got a question about the most venomous spider in the world. You and Age 7 wants to know, in the world, what's the most venomous spider?
That is a great question, and also a little tricky to answer, because how long's a piece of string? How are we measuring venomous? But if you want spiders that have actually resulted in fatalities, you're looking at black widows, you're looking at wandering spiders, you're looking at those two mostly. There are brown recluses, which can result in these really painful necrotic wounds where basically your skin dies off and you have a cavern where your thing was. But Alison and everyone in the audience, question: when was the last time that somebody in America died as a result of a black widow bite?
Yeah, I have no idea, because you just don't hear of it.
There are cases of people get bitten by them still, that happens, but the last time somebody died in the US was, I believe, 50 years ago. And in Australia, they have black widows there as well. Of course, the redback, I think it was 70 years ago. It's 50 and 70, but whether that's Australia or America, I'm really sorry. I knew I needed to double check that one. But it has been that long since someone has died as a result of black widow bite, which is fantastic. And that is because of anti-venom. And that's why venom studies are so important, because look about 50 years with no deaths thanks to anti-venom.
While we're talking about black widows and false widows, Will on Facebook was asking, is the false widow related to the black widow?
Oh, this is such a good question. This is something that I was actually looking at for my thesis. They are. They are related to each other, but how they're related, we're still kind of investigating that, because we know they're quite close. We know they're close, but it's just figuring out what's the particulars, like who came first, who evolved first, who came from what. So I think definitely give it the next sort of 5 years, and I think we'd have an actual answer to that question. I feel confident in saying that. But please don't check this video in 5 years' time. Like, she lied. Yeah, no, that's something that's really being looked at right now, definitely worldwide. It's very cool stuff.
So we've got a question from Rosie on YouTube. Obviously, you've shown us just a spiders that you collected today. Rosie was asking, did you collect all of those just where you live?
Yes. Just where
that many where we live too? Or we like to find lots of spiders where we live too?
I looked at when the wall joins the fence last night, and I saw 4 different species of spiders immediately, including really. Alison, I saw a really rare one yesterday. I was so excited. It was in London we have a species called the false wolf spider, which is so new. And I think I saw one yesterday. I need to confirm, but it's amazing. Anyway, the point is, to answer your question, Rosie, that is why I love spiders. It's like you don't need to look very far before you've come across, 3 or 4 different species. You can go out today, if you're going shopping today, go look at the walls and the fences as you're passing and count how many spiders you can see. And you're going to run out of fingers and toes, because that is just why they're marvelous. They'll find a place and they'll live there, and they're very content. That's why I love them. And as I said, half an hour, I got all of those without even, breaking the sweat, without trying too hard. So think about what a dedicated professional who's got like proper equipment could get. Tons.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a tiny snapshot, just the few we've showed you today of what we can find in the UK. I think we've got a slide with some other examples, and some of them are quite exotic.
Yeah, some of them are extremely beautiful. So here are some examples of, there go my notes, a ladybird spider. So guess which ones. So we've got our ladybird spider, we've got our purseweb spider, the really big, hefty looking one. Beautiful. Flower crab spider, diving bell spider. Yes, that's right. It does live underwater. Totally. And finally, our little jumping spiders, our zebra spiders. Beautiful things. Now, I could have gone out. So with definitely the diving bell, ladybird, and the purseweb, they're very hard to find. They're very scarce, and they're protected. Definitely the first, the top 2 there, which is good. They need to be protected. They're fascinating parts of our wildlife. But I wanted to show you ones that you could find easily. So that's why I was like, here are the amazing ones that you can find out in the UK, but these are the ones you can definitely find without trying too hard. So this is just scratching the surface. It's up to you guys now to spend this weekend, have a spider safari, see what you can find.
Definitely. Have you got any tips for actually collecting them so you can take a closer look? What do you use?
Tips for now. I make my life really difficult. This is my kit. So first of all, I wear what I'm affectionately dubbing the Prada Fall Winter 2020 collection, a broken head with a torch attached to it. And this bad boy here, this is an old electric toothbrush I have with a gaffer tape to match to it. So an electric toothbrush vibrates at about 20,000 times a minute, and that simulates like a fly coming into a web. And that's how I got our giant house spider last night. I found the web, stuck this on the outside, and she was like, dinner? Dinner? Yeah, dinner. And she came out, and then I could quickly use one of the pots, popped it on top of her, got a bit of card, flipped it over, put on the lid. So that's how you can do it. I imagine if you're going spider safaring, you might not want to get them out the web, you might not want to capture them, but this is lovely if you want to see what's lurking. And particularly because this is a key thing I should have mentioned earlier. Spiders are nocturnal. They come out at night. They're very active at night. You can see them during the day, but they are best at night. So definitely need the head torch.
It's a good look as well. It's a really good look.
Thank you. Or you get a willing sibling who'll hold the torch and won't scream when you see a spider. But it's a good opportunity to let them hey, let them out. They're not that bad. Yeah.
And once you've got your spider, how do you go about identifying it? Is there anywhere that will help? Any websites?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the British Arachnological Society, the UK's only charity dedicated to arachnids. What wonderful people they are. They are phenomenal. They offer identifications, they have forums, they collect, they produce journals and notebooks on all our amazing spiders. And they are the people I would always recommend to go to if you have an identification. But most importantly, during lockdown, they're running free surveys. So they're running a Cellar Spider survey, remember, the ones we talked about, a nursery web spider egg sacs and spiderling survey, and a garden spider spiderling survey. So if I bring back our garden spider, now you'll see tiny little yellow spiders with a black diamond on the back. Probably this guy. Probably this guy. So take a look on the British Arachnological website. Read up on their surveys. You just have to tweet or email your sightings to them, and get involved helping us figure out where these spiders are. How are they distributing? So cool. So cool. So I recommend them. But if you want to know particularly where your spiders are, I think it's the Spider Recording Scheme. I think we've got a slide just showing that name somewhere. But also it will. So the Spider Recording Scheme will show you where spiders are in the UK. You can see a map. Or for those of you who prefer paper, Britain Spider is. This is look at this. This is the spider book you need. Okay, it's fantastic. So I'm going to show you some candy stripe spiders. Here we go. Candy stripe spiders here.
Oh, wow.
In this book, it'll give you some pictures. You'll see there's a map. It will tell you about the species. It will tell you how you identify them. Also tell you what months they come out and and if the months are different for the males and the females. Good book, produced in part by the British Arachnological Society, so you know it's worth your time. And any of you are semi-serious about getting into spiders, such a good book.
Brilliant. That's a really so we've had loads and loads of questions from our viewers online, so we're going to get through some of those. So we had a couple of people asking what the biggest spider in the UK is, and what's the biggest in the world. So
right, yeah, should we compare them? So I know, I think we've got a picture of them at the end. So the biggest spider we have in the UK is called the Cardinal Spider, famed for scaring Cardinal, I think it's Cardinal Wolsey, when he went to Hampton Court Palace. He got so freaked out by the spider, and I know we have a picture of that, which I think is at the very end. Yeah, so these are the worlds, and then the one before shows you, just in comparison, here's our biggest spider, the Cardinal Spider. Loves very dusty places. So we're not really talking your house, we're talking like very ancient sort of like castles. We're talking like hundreds of year old farm buildings. You will notice it's a giant house spider, but the legs have been stretched. That's how I describe it. Also, I appreciate a floppy disk, because there are probably some kids watching who are like, what's that? Why is that a comparison? So the next slide then shows you in comparison how big our world spiders are. And I love bringing up both of these. I think both of these are strong contenders. So you have the Goliath spider and the giant huntsman. So in the Paris Museum of Natural History, there is a specimen of the giant huntsman, which apparently if you stretch out the legs, it's a foot long. It's so big. But this guy, Goliath bird-eating spider, I appreciate that, you can look at your hands and be like, how big is it? Here's a better example. You get like an A5-ish size book, so like some spiders. I work in the shop, can you tell? Just imagine, put that on the table, a flat size, or fold a piece of paper, A4 paper in half. Look at it. That spider, a Goliath birding spider, could straddle the edges around that like book or piece of paper quite happily. So she would sit very happily around here. So big. You know what? Both of them, the venom, fine. It will hurt if it bites you, but that's because it's big and it's got big fangs. Well, relatively big fangs. But yeah, venom, no, not on those guys. Which is good.
So it looks big and scary, but actually a bit of a
gentle giants. Yeah, Jan actually had a pet Goliath bird-eating spider, which she affectionately called Tracy, and she's currently in the collections after she passed away. And dear old Tracy, where is it? Oh, gone but not forgotten. Gone but not forgotten. Dear Trace.
It's brilliant. I love that we've got Tracy in the collection. We've had a really lovely question actually from Amelia on Facebook asking, how do spiders not get stuck in their own web?
Great question. So it was let's go back to that. So as I showed you, they have different sort of traps, and spiders know where they've put the sticky silk. They know where they've put the silk, and they're so delicate that they can just creep all the way around it and avoid the silk. Though I would definitely, going to be honest, I'm a Venom person, not really a web person. It's definitely to do with they know where they're putting the silk, but I think there might be some other factors, and that's definitely something to look into, because I don't want to stand here and say that's the only thing. Go have a look into that. Just being honest.
That's absolutely fair enough. And Kirsty, age 7, asks, Leah, what's your favourite species of spider?
So sweet. My favourite species. Thank you. My favourite species of spider is. I'm sure this might not surprise any of you. My favourite species is the false widow, the noble false widow, Steatoda nobilis. I think she's beautiful. She's glossy, all these amazing browns and blacks and whites. And the fact that people, I really like animals that people really hate on, because I want to know actually what are they like in reality. I want to be like, actually, nonsense. They're great. They're really good, and their effect is actually pretty okay or neutral, to be honest with you. So a very sweet question. I did see one question that I do want to answer, because it's a really good one, which someone asked, is there an online, like a phone app that I can use to identify spiders? Always a good one is iNaturalist, which you can download on the App Store. I think it's compatible for all mobile phones. But also, I have a slide. If you could, I think Ben, if you could find it, it's the one about the Facebook pages, and that is the wonderful Facebook page UK Spiders and British Spider. Yeah, here we go. British Spider Identification Group. These groups are lovely. People who identify spiders, people you can have discussions about them, and it really these groups are both part of the reason why I'm such a big fan of them. Fantastic people in them. And of course, on Twitter, you can find the British Arachnological Society and check out the Spider Twitter hashtag. So there we go. Right, there we go.
Brilliant. That's a great point to end with. I'm really sad to say we have completely run out of time. I could talk to you.
I'm so sorry.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for answering all of our questions, for bringing along those spiders today. It's been fantastic. Hopefully, we'll see you back at the museum again soon. But if not, I'll see you again at some point. But Leah, thank you so much. We'll say goodbye to you for now, and hope to see you soon.
See you all around. Thank you very much, Alison. Thank you, everyone watching at home. I hope you've got a good new light for these wonderful creatures. So, yes, goodbye, stay well, and stay safe.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Thank you for all of your questions. They were absolutely fantastic. Even if you can't bring yourself to love spiders, hopefully you will have you'll agree with us that they are fascinating, interesting, and quite wonderful creatures in their own way. Now, if you want to follow our Nature Live, do check our YouTube channel and check our social media, our Facebook. You can find out about what events are coming up. Next Tuesday, we have a fantastic talk about Mars with one of our space scientists. Remember, Nature Live, we're every Tuesday at 12 and every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to see you again soon. But for now, I'll say goodbye. Take care.